Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make Norwegian game stew. Now you can make this with moose, you can make it with deer, or in this case, Abby's mother, Rody. Now let me walk you through what we got. So we got the star of the show, the Rody. We have carrots, celery root, onions, some thyme, a couple of bays. We have juniper berries that I'm going to crush. Norwegian brown cheese, which is absolutely essential, and we have mushrooms. I'll also be adding some double cream. First off, I'm going to debone meat and make a stock. I'll make a separate video out of the stock. If you want to watch that, I'll put a link to it. All the bone. Get off as much meat as you can. So I'll be using meat from the neck and from the foreparts of the road here today. It's going to be a lot of sinew to remove, but it's going to be well worth it because all the sinew is going into the stock. Get that meat off any way you can. You may ask why I bother with this bony, sinewy parts, and for me it's about respect for the animal. Utilizing the entire animal. After all, it's given its life to feed us, and it deserves our respect. But there is a bonus, and that is a homemade stock. It's going to be definitely better than anything that's store-bought, or if you use stock cubes. Last pieces of meat, these are the shanks. As you can see, lots of sinew on this. It's going to give a nice flavor both to the stock and to the stew. That's the meat deboned. If you've never deboned before, don't be scared. Take your time, nice and easy. Follow the bones. I'll be getting off some of the larger sinews, the rest I'm going to leave. And because this is going to simmer low and slow. And as you can see, Bambi's mother got its revenge. Right, so I've melted a small blob of butter, about 80 grams or so. Might seem excessive, but I've got a lot of meat here. And Rody is very, very lean. I'm just going to brown that quickly, and once that is browning, I'm going to chop off these vegetables, and I'll also brown those slightly, and just maximize flavor. Salt and pepper as you go, and add the rest of the spices later on. Now the mushrooms I'll be adding last. They are the only thing that is going to be joining the roll for the entire cooking process. After all the meat brown, we'll start browning the vegetables. And the vegetables are only going to be joining this for the last 30 minutes or so. So I do want to have those flavors in the pot from the caramelization. Oops. Okay, I'm also doing the veg in portions. And I'm going to brown up some shallots, and as you can see, I've left the top on. That's to keep them together, hopefully. Lastly, I'll start by browning some roughly chopped onions, just to build even some more flavor. And then I'm going to throw all the mushrooms in. That's all. sauce. And I'll also be adding some frozen wild mushrooms because frankly I couldn't find any in the shop. Fresh. It's not exactly the right season. Just going to skim off this stock one last time. I won't go entirely crazy with this. After all, I'm just making gravy, which needs to be very clear. That's a little time. And I'm not, in this case, not going to reduce it anymore. So that's the top for you. Done. The mushrooms and the onions are soon done to my liking. And I'll be deglazing this with the same mixture of port and red wine as I used in the stock. Now that's 2 parts red wine to some really dark, nice port. And I think the sweetness from the port goes really well with the game. Now, as you can see behind me, the question is quite they are going into the and the reason for that is I have bread and this is going to take a few hours anyway, and I have nothing but time. And the video I mentioned, the method that I'm using for bread is based on the baking 101 video. I've mixed it up with both using a little bit of sourdough and a little bit of yeast. And I'll post a link to that in the description. Okay, the short intermission is over. I'm just going to deflate this briefly. Let that cook in. The wine mix is really just going to leave that, let that reduce for another minute or so. Now, I did say that we are going to use Norwegian brown cheese. And if you're curious to why and what it does, then I'll be adding that to the stew towards the end. Wine is finished reducing. I'll be adding meat. And stock. You probably need to add a little bit of water. Just cover it. I'm going to bring this up to the boil, and it needs to really just simmer for at least an hour and a half. Now, normally for game you wouldn't simmer it that long, but as I've said, it's a lot of connective tissue in here, and in order to get this nice and tender, we are going to have to do it low and slow. To here I added some thyme, and I'm just crushing up some juniper berries. If you're lucky and have someone near you who's making rowan berry jelly, that's also traditional to add. So I brought that up to the boil, and I've reduced the heat, and now it's just going to be simmering. The stew has been simmering for about an hour. All I've done is skim off some of the excess fat and some of the proteins. It's nowhere done yet. The meat is still tough. And it's time to get my little side project into the oven. Okay, we are about maybe 2 hours in. Time to add some cream. So I've already had a taste. It's tasting spectacularly good. I've skimmed off some of the excess fat and the foam that forms from the proteins. And now I added 3 deciliters of double cream. Really is important that you have some fat in this because of the leanness in the meat. I'm just going to get this to the boil and let that reduce slowly, and I am probably going to thicken it a little bit. It's coming up after I added the cream to boil there. I'm just gonna season with some more juniper berries. The tiniest amount of black pepper. I'm just going to let this reduce ever so slightly, and I'll be adding the veggies. This is non-toxic kitchen spray. I made a video on that as well. You can absolutely use that around food, it's totally safe. So I said I would be telling you a bit about this Norwegian brown cheese, why we use it. Now, it's made out of whey that you boil and you boil and you boil for hours, and it starts to caramelize the milk sugar. When you add it into a stew, it will thicken the sauce, it will round the sauce and make everything taste so much better. I love using this in a red wine sauce, and for the life of me I can't understand why it just hasn't hit the international cooking scene. Few fun facts. Biggest importer in the world, Korea. Second biggest producer of Norwegian brown cheese is India. Now, I have presented this to some Filipino chefs I know in Oslo, and they are absolutely bonkers about using this now in their Filipino fusion style cuisine. Flavors mix really well with a lot of Asian style foods. So if you live in a country where it is available, check it out, try to use it. It will totally change up your sauce game. So the meat is tender, and now it's time for the finishing touches. Time to get the veggies in. We'll be needing about half an hour or so. And I'll be serving this the traditional way, which is with potato mash. I peel the potatoes, you don't have to, I like to do that. I'll be using a masher because this is a rustic dish, so I won't be passing it through a sieve or anything like that. The potato peels, don't discard them. I'm going to simmer them in the milk that I'll be using for the mash, and I might even dry them off and deep fry them. It's time to add the secret weapon of Norwegian brown sauces, Norwegian brown cheese. Now, if you can get your hands on it, definitely do add it. It's traditional. I'm just going to let that melt down. I'll leave a recipe, by the way, in the description. And if you like me to make a video on an easy same-day sourdough bread, please do leave a comment. Oops, I'll get that milk off. Don't let it boil over. That would be a disaster. It just needs to simmer. I'll probably reduce that milk down somewhat. Traditionally, you would further thicken this with a brown roux, but since some of the people that are going to eat this don't really take well to wheat, I'm going to use a corn-based brown thickener, which I can also add directly into the sauce, which is very convenient. Like so. And I'll check in a minute if that will be sufficient for the consistency I'm after. Let's have a taste. Oh, that's actually quite good. It's really taken in all the potato flavors, and that's why I don't want you to waste it. Time to finish. The vegetables are at the doneness where I like. They still have some bite to it. Just going to give this a final taste. Oh, that is spectacular. Just a hint of black pepper and a little bit of salt. Let's get on to finishing the mash. But before finishing the mash, I'm just going to add something that isn't very traditional. Some green beans, just to give it a little bit of color. All they need to do is warm through. Let's make some mash. Into here, some butter. I really love butter, so I'm going to add quite a bit. You can add as much or as little as you like. Mash it up. I like mine lumpy. You can make it whichever way you prefer. Make sure you use starchy potatoes. I'm going to incorporate some of that flavored milk, a little bit at a time. I've done the mistake before by adding too much. Once you get to consistency about like this, it's time to switch some doughs. You don't want to overwork this, it's just going to become like glue. You're going to add some more of the milk to my preferred consistency. Might be different from yours. Like so. Season. Use salt. You're probably gonna have to do this a couple of times. Takes more salt than you think is my experience. Mix that through. And I do really love nutmeg in my potato mash. And if you'd like to see some more traditional or not so traditional Norwegian cuisine, you know what to do. Just gonna stir that through, give the mash a taste. Oops, out of spoons. Lovely. Just needs a little bit more salt. And it's time to plate up. And here you go. Traditional Norwegian game stew served with potato mash and lingonberries. Food fit for gods.